Well, good afternoon, listeners. Such a gift to be here. As you know, Anna Maria, who you see on the screen, and for those listening, she is here. She is my interviewee. We had some trouble with the recording. Again, I always say I don't know how a tech world would last forever if we completely went tech, because it is not the best of servants to humanity at times. So I'm definitely not always a fan, but very grateful for her patience and
Wonderful.
yeah. So this is Anna Maria Hefele. And
Hello.
she is a Overtone singer. And I came across one of her videos from quite a while ago now, and then that led me to her YouTube channel, which led me to more of her recent videos. And an overtone singer is someone who sings two notes at the same time. And so when you listen to her, if you didn't see her, you would think it's two people making this sound, because it's two different sounds happening at once. And so I was fascinated by it. And I was like, I want to know more about her and why she decided to do this, and what inspired her, what has been her personal life story. And so she's been kind enough to come on. So she's in Europe right now, in Germany. And so it's nighttime for her, afternoon for me. So she's probably more tired, who knows, but very grateful. So Anna Maria, thank you so much for making the time for this.
Thanks for the invitation. I'm happy to be there and to participate.
So, Anna Maria, I had never heard of overtone singing until I came across your video, and I don't know if that's because I'm just not very heavily in the music world beyond loving to listen to music. And so, what got you excited about it? And how were you introduced to it? And how did you go, this is what I want to do? Like, I want to teach people this. I want to perform. Where did that come from?
Well, in the beginning, there was no I want to perform or I want to teach. It was simply being fascinated and deciding to start learning because I found it so cool. So, and it was like in 2005 when I heard like a radio broadcast in a culture program, which I loved listening to, and in the broadcast it was about like an overtone singing choir.
Oh, wow.
And about the man who was like leading the choir, and it was like a bit more than an hour away from where I lived, like the meetings and the documentary. And it was also about the person leading the group and initiating. And he's Hartmut von Vogt, and he also builds crazy instruments and invents them. And he, lived like next door down the road. And in the broadcast they said something like, this. Like he lives in Grafing bei München, like close to Munich, in like an area that is next to the railway tracks, like where it's at. And I just thought like, well, I live there too, so walk down the street, and like 5 houses further, the name was written. And then at that time, I was still pretty shy with social interaction and everything, and then it took me like half a year to get some courage together. And then I saw him gardening, and I just went there and asked if it was about him in the radio, and it was so interesting and so cool and everything. And then he became my first teacher and my mentor, and I started learning the technique with him, and he also gave me lots of CDs with interesting stuff on it, and borrowed me his self-made hurdy-gurdy for 2 weeks and stuff like that.
Wow.
So.
And how old were you when you first went down the street?
Like 16.
16. And so you went down the street first and saw the house, and then it took you about half a year to actually go up to him, but you knew where he was. Like, would you try many times to go to the house and knock on the door?
Oh, I didn't try to knock. I was just, too shy to actually knock.
Yeah.
But one time I was just passing by, going to the bakery, and he was in the front garden.
Okay.
So there was just him standing and the fence and me passing by, and then I didn't need to knock or to do anything, and I just asked if this radio thing was about him, and it was so cool, and so it started. And at that time, and as a child and teenager, I did lots of dance, like Latin and ballroom, as a training as a sport, and also circus stuff like juggling, unicycling, tight wire, and all this, and a bit of music and singing, but not that much. But I was super interested and into in all the circus arts, moving arts, what you can do with the body and that, and this was in the beginning like another geeky thing, like it was like fun, like learning another circus discipline in some way, because it seems difficult, it seems complicated, it's impressing people, it's fascinating.
And you worked,
so,
did you work for a circus while you were a teenager?
no, I just learned such things because I liked it. But
Oh,
also
wow.
when I was
Okay.
16, I started, in the summer, like teaching circus, like summer camp for kids with an authentic circus, and like joining there and teaching some things to like children different ages, like for a 1 week project with a final performance and stuff like that.
Wow.
So things like that I already did at that time. And yeah, I started learn the overtone singing, and somehow, working with the voice and with the many tones and colors of the human voice, and the many possibilities it has in expression, in sound creation, in it also, it just kept me fascinated so much and so deeply that I, never stopped learning about the human voice and about the sounds and the variety of sounds you can do with it. And with other things I started, and I can be very enthusiastic about something and really like go into something deep in a very short amount of time. And then at some point the work you have to invest becomes more. So the first learning the first bits is always fastest, and at some point having to invest time and more effort catches up, and with many things at that point, that somehow like after doing something intensively for like 1 or 2 years or something, then I skipped.
Yeah.
Because I kind of like, it was enough for me to have the general understanding of how this thing works. Like with bookbinding, for example, which I did for some while, or working with silversmith stuff, or like certain different crafts and things, and then you do it for some time, and then you have like a general understanding of how it works, and then it was not so interesting anymore. But with the voice, and with sound, working with sound and with the human voice, like it just never lost this appeal and the fascination for it. And also my parents are both music instrument builders, and so sound and music was something that was around a lot and quite normal.
Yeah.
And yeah, and at some point, sometime I started learning the mandolin. And then I had a lovely mandolin teacher, and she said, well, you have to do the phrasing and the melodies on this plucked instrument, and it's bright, and it's pok, 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 pok. It's very hard to get a lovely round or full sound quality out of a mandolin, because it's high and it's a bit more aggressive in sound. So making a lovely sound is a bit difficult.
Hmm.
And also with plucked instrument, it's like you pluck the string, and then it's like, then you can't change the sound anymore. So once it's plucked, the sound is as it is, like on the piano. So you press, and then the sound is there.
Yeah.
If you play a violin, you have the bow, for example, or with a wind instrument, you form the sound constantly, and it's not starting the note and then it's done. No influence, but you can work with the sustain of the sound much more, because you have to continue producing the sound for it to stay.
Yeah.
If you stop bowing on the violin, then the sound stops, even if the note is not finished.
Yeah.
And with plucked instruments, it's not like that. And the teacher told me, well, you have to do phrasing or think like more if you would play the flute. And then what did I do? I was in the Bavarian dance and folk music scene and playing, and the founder of the folk dance folk music group, he's also a flute builder with historical flute. So, and I went there and asked, so I don't really have much money and I can't really buy much, so, but could you teach me how to build one?
Huh.
And he did, because he was retired. So I joined his workshop for 2 weeks and built a precise replica of a Baroque traverse flute.
Wow.
Like an ancient model of these flutes, like a wooden one, but with softer sound. And I loved it. And then I went to the workshop and joined there and started learning with a teacher. And yeah, this teacher said, well, yeah, you have to play the flute as if you were singing. And then I thought, like, well, why so indirect? Then maybe singing it is. So. Because, the singing, you don't play an external instrument, but every time you sing, you have to build the instrument first in your body.
Yeah.
To prepare for a certain outcome in sound. So it requires a very, very precise control over the body. And the main thing for the singing is breath. So the breath controls a lot about the sound and carries the sound.
Yeah.
And you do the expression. So when you express through music, doing it from the air coming through your throat out, like it's the most direct way of expressing through sound, and you can't hide anything. Basically, you can't hide how you feel, how you. So it's indeed the most direct way of music and expressing what's inside.
Yeah.
Through sound,
Yeah.
is using the voice, and there's so many possibilities of what you can do with the voice. Like if it's like the overtone singing is just one very, very niche special topic, like not many people know about, but more learn about it. But it's just one way. So there's like the opera and the classical, and it's different with if you sing Renaissance and early music, and Baroque coloratura is different. Then you have the modern stuff with jazz and pop, and then you have the rock and the metal growling, and then you have the yodeling, which I like too, and then you have so many, or like the Inuit, traditional Inuit singing styles, like I think Canada, like where women stand facing each other and breathing into their mouths and make very, very ancient sounds. So there's so many different way of expression and sound quality to the human voice.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's endless, and this is so cool. And that's like one of the things I love about the voice. And I mean it's the most direct things to express from what's inside you. It's like voice, sound, but it's also like directed like movement in the body, expressing through movement and through sound and voice. And this is exactly how little children start. So when they start learning language, when they start moving, it's all one thing. They start speaking, they sing at the same time, they move, they play, they dance, it's not separated. the forms of expression are not separated.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So what? So you became very passionate about voice in general. What? Because I mean, when I was watching some of your videos, obviously you play some instruments. Like I was seeing the video that you published a couple years ago where you walk into a very silent room where there's all these chimes that are very big and long from the
Mm.
wall, and you would play the chimes and then you would intersect the overtone singing between the chimes as they were playing.
Yeah.
Um, so what specifically about the overtone? Is it because of the uniqueness of it? Because I would think, like you mentioned yodeling, you mentioned classic, there's so many directions to take. Was it just the
Mm.
overtone in general that you just found very fascinating?
I found the various ways of sound and expression of the human voice fascinating. And when I was younger, I could like totally not relate to lyrics. So
Hmm.
I did not care about lyrics and meaning of lyrics at all. Because in normal singing, you have like in the classical music or also in pop music and so on. So you have the melody, the composition, but you also have the lyrics, and these are essential. And so what you do in classical singing training, for example, is you analyze the song. You
Hmm.
see where are the phrases, but the phrases come together with the lyrics. So there is like a poem, a written text,
Yeah.
with rhymes or without. And it's as if you speak, for example. You can't listen to somebody speaking like high and pitch and doesn't take a break. So it just like you can't really follow somebody reading or telling who's also in the speaking not using commas and dots.
Right. Yeah.
Like because in the language it forms one block of meaning, comma, second block of meaning, comma. So it's adding together. And in lyrics for the music, also you see like what is the text about? How is it structured? What are different emotions? And then you try to connect, like first understand and analyze the meaning of the lyrics, and then try to connect the things you understood to your own, like where can I relate? Where did I have similar feelings, similar experiences?
Mm-hmm.
And then you try to connect that and interpret the song in a way that it starts connecting, so that it has something to do with you. And then when it has something to do with you, it can also transfer to the listener in an emotional way.
So you
And
think
this
I'm sorry, keep going.
this was something I didn't want, I didn't like,
Okay.
I hated to do that at all, because I like it was I didn't like it. I didn't like to work with text and meaning. So I preferred to work with more abstract, so that the listener that there are different things depending on the person perceiving what they feel in it,
Right.
or what they understand in it, so that it's at one hand more abstract for the perceiving person rather than a specific storyline,
Okay.
and on the other hand that it can be more my unique personal expression through the sound,
Yeah.
but not interpreting lyrics somebody else wrote, sometimes hundreds of years ago.
I see.
I had great difficulty with that, and also as a kid and a teenager for all these years in life, I was struggling a lot with mobbing.
Mobbing?
Mobbing, the English word maybe, like if all the other kids are attacking you,
Oh, bullying?
bullying. Yeah.
Okay.
I was bullied a lot.
Why?
Because I was always weird and different,
Hmm.
and not interested in the same things the others had, and I grew up very poor, so we didn't had the nice cool shoes and of, I don't know, certain brands and whatever was
Yeah. Okay.
trend. And I also always had special interest that, and we didn't never have like a TV at home and all that. So basically there was nothing of the normal environment of other kids, like nothing to talk about, because I didn't share the, like having a TV and a computer and a Nintendo and
Yeah.
whatever, doing ordinary stuff,
Yeah.
because I wasn't. And I was much more interested also in things I found fascinating than just in trying to blend in or whatever. So, like pretty much in my own world also. So with all that bullying, you know, I learned that it's safe to not react, not to show emotional reaction or hurt on
Yeah.
bullying or being beaten up. Like if you react in some way, they continue and it gets more and gets worse.
Yes. Okay.
And if you show like a blank face, no reaction at all, they get bored and it's stopping earlier. So I learned like not showing any emotion or like just dissociating, but not showing.
So with
Was safe and
Yeah.
and in the singing, when you work with singing, with music and with lyrics, so suddenly you have to show, and I felt so exposed,
Okay.
and I really didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So and there's other things when you sing classical music, which I loved a lot, also like the Baroque music. So the Baroque coloratura stuff, that is highly artistic, and I mean it has kind of words and lyrics, but it's totally not about the words and the lyrics.
Yeah.
But it's about the highly virtuose runs and stuff. For example, if you have like the maybe you know, or everybody should know that, like the Queen of the Night aria.
Oh yes. Yes.
Which is not, it's already early classic. It's not Baroque, but this type of singing is the coloratura, which is so artistic and refined, and I loved that, because I mean in the Baroque opera you have lots of that. So I like this, and less where it's about interpretation of deep lyrics.
Right.
So
Lyrical.
when I studied at the university, that was also something I struggled. But the love also for lyrics and this openness and the connection, like it just came later. You know, I couldn't. You know, I couldn't with 16, and I couldn't do that with 20. So, but I'm like 36 now, so now I can. And I also enjoy that part of the singing voice. So it just became richer through also gaining that approach as well. So I also like it now, but when I was younger I didn't. And in the overtones, the technical aspect behind this, I mean you make this sound filtering in the vocal tract. You sing the normal note like hey, and then you start filtering the sound in the vocal tract. Can you hear?
Yeah. It's fascinating.
Perfect. So it's not cutting down. That's great. In some programs it just deletes the overtone singing, or when the amplitude becomes too loud. Cool. Yeah, but doing that, I need the tongue to do all the filtering of the sound in the vocal tract. So singing lyrics the same time as you form overtones, it's not possible, so it's out of discussion. Yeah, so that I also liked, because then it's like out of discussion. I mean, no lyrics possible, so no lyrics needed, so no text interpretation needed.
Well, can you actually give some more examples like what you did there? Because I know that the software does pick up, but sometimes it will fade out as well, depending. So usually if I have someone on who is musical in any way, I have them do it just a couple times or some sort of examples, so that who's ever listening or watching will be able to get at least some of it. So can you give some examples of overtone singing, like different, um, because it is
Sure.
there are different examples that I've seen, like different melodies you've done, um, sometimes with music, sometimes with not. But yeah, could you, just so people could get a glimpse of what that's like?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you have in the human voice, you also always have overtones in it. So because that's just how sound is structured. So you always have a fundamental and whole numbers of the fundamental frequency, and altogether forms the sound or the vowel. Um, so that's generally like that. And in the overtone singing, um, I make a rather strong sound that has loud and strong overtones in the sound source, in the source material, so to say, already. So I work with sounds like this. Eh, 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 eh. So a bit sharp quality and loud,
Mm-hmm.
and in chest voice. And then the overtones are strong, and then they are sent from the vocal folds into the vocal tract, and there I modulate and form the sound. And we do the same every day in the singing and the speaking in making vowels. So we move here, we make sound there, we move here, everything we move around does change the sound, and this is how we make vowels as well, like a, e, I, u. You move muscles whose shape form in different ways, and this changes the sound. So that's the basic concept. And in overtone singing, I do the same, just so detailed and so specific. So there I go for a strong sound, and then it's possible to start filtering the sound through vowel transitions. So that's the vowel technique. There I use the mouth and the throat as one resonance chamber to form the sound. Therefore, it's also called one cavity technique. So usually I teach that first because it's much easier and more accessible than making the other technique. And then I have another technique where the tongue is placed to the roof of the mouth in a wide L shape, or like a very American R sound. So the tongue is dividing the space in a space above the tongue and one underneath the tongue, and then you have two spaces that need to be formed and shaped very precisely and coordinated together very precisely. And with that technique I get the loud whistle overtones I'm mostly doing. And if I open up, it's just this this sound quality. Where I kept the sound the same, I produce the sound the same way, I just open up the mouth.
So could you, and maybe this was one of your videos, but I didn't see it. Can you actually, hum's not the right word, can you make the sound or change the sound of your voice to mimic the melody of a song, and at the same time change the pitch of the second sound at the same time? Is that possible?
Yeah, I do that a lot, and I arrange most music that way, because just singing overtones from one pitch, I run out of notes quickly, especially with a female voice. So, so from that note, I can't sing more notes than these. And you know that they have bigger intervals, bigger steps than on the piano. So on the piano, we have closer notes. And with having these closer notes available, that's how we usually have our music built, to use that smaller steps. And I don't have them with a female voice, because the pitch of the fundamental is relatively high. So if I go very low down, then I can access the higher range in the overtones where the notes get closer. But it's hard to hear.
Yeah.
But if I sing very low, then I can make some melodies on one pitch.
It's just so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but I have to sing low, and it's not my comfortable range because I'm a high soprano from the voice itself.
So you can
So my
probably do the
voice,
aria from Magic Flute.
from the voice type, I could, but this requires years of training and education, which I didn't continue.
Well, you know, I
So
I wanted to ask you when I first heard the music, and I know we're talking about interpretation, we're talking about all of these different things. So, but when I interpret it, when I was listening, it's a very almost spiral sounding sound that kind of forces one to be still. And then as you keep listening, to me anyway, as I kept listening, it almost sounds like a vibration that's occurring. And then the louder it is, it's almost like viscerally felt throughout your entire body because the vibration is getting louder and louder and louder and louder. And it, um, like, I don't know if it's going to sound weird to you, but I almost feel like it's the type of music that I would want to sing or listen to when I'm sad and almost wanting to groan out how I'm feeling, because to me, as I listen, it's such a neat sound, but at the same time, and it can be very soothing because, like, the video that you have with the chimes is very soothing. But in a grief way, it's almost like, because there have been moments in my life, and I was just talking to someone the other day, where it's like there are sounds that come out of the human body during a grieving moment that
oh
are
yeah,
very visceral, but they don't really have like, we don't typically hear them. So when they come out of somebody,
yeah,
right, it's like, oh my gosh, what is that?
it's primal sounds.
I was gonna say this type of music to me, I can almost see someone like rocking back and forth, and like as they're grieving or crying, like that's how they're expressing it. Does that make sense? Maybe that's really weird. That's just how I was.
It totally makes sense, but possibly they would not do it that way
Yeah,
because
it's true.
it's
You don't
like
know how.
highly artistic and highly controlled, and primal sounds are very raw.
Yeah.
But I do work with them in teaching as well to get out certain sounds and quality from the people I need sound-wise.
Hmm.
And with when you work with primal sounds, also the balance is always right. The balance between voice, sound production, that the sound is supported with the diaphragm and with the full body. Yeah?
Do you?
Because if you cry and if you rock and start screaming because you're really emotionally deep in pain or processing, you don't sit there quietly and say,
You're right.
you're not thinking about what am I doing, and you don't do it sitting on the sofa lazy.
Yeah.
And you make primal sound. If I come over to you and accidentally or on purpose stomp on your foot with my foot, bang, and then you say, hey! That's a primal sound and a very direct reaction to something painful, something hurting, something you're not okay with, something you're defending yourself. So that's a very, very sudden, precise reaction in the sound, but with the full body being there and reacting. So it's not like I step on your foot, it really hurts you, and you think and you say, what are you doing? Go away. And then you say, hey! Like it doesn't, there's no delay in a reaction like that.
No, you're right. I wonder.
And if you have babies, if they cry, they cry, they can cry for hours and they make the baby crying sound. And if you watch them, the whole belly is moving, the whole body is involved in making that sound.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they can do it for hours and don't get a sore voice or lose the voice, because it's in balance. From here, the crying sound and like this sound, it's very, very exhausting. It's extremely tiring, draining to do that. If you try as a grown-up, for example. So it's highly demanding physically to do that sound. So and kids and babies, they don't get tired because they like don't try do it and push it, but it's really with the muscles and with the breathing and the diaphragm, it's in alignment with like muscular balance, so to say.
Well, this may sound weird, but because you're talking about like how the whole body's involved in crying for a baby, which is how they can keep it going for so long. But when you become an adult, typically when people cry, it's much more of a chest thing, like a, kind of thing. It doesn't really involve the whole. And maybe this is a weird question, but like, if you, like, is it almost as if the body could be made at moments to grieve that aggressively by using the whole body, which prevents you from losing your voice?
I mean, if for whatever reason you make demanding sounds, if the balance is right and the full body is activated, like a highly skilled opera singer does too. So you could not sing the Queen of the Night aria without full balance with the muscles and full activation of diaphragm, pelvic floor and everything. So because the power to sing an aria like the Queen of the Night has to come from somewhere, and it's muscles. It's not the voice, it's further down. And if I think when it comes to grieving and crying and this expression, so I think that, I mean, the problem where you lose the voice is when you don't let it out, when you keep quiet and keep still, because especially as a girl, you learn be pretty, be quiet, I don't know, do what you're told, and then you pull yourself together and don't, like at some point, stop expressing what's there. And with men it's said, well, like this is not manly, you can't cry, you're a man. And then they never learn to. And then through some years and a lifetime, there's so much emotion stored in the body because it had never the permission to leave the body. So, and then it gets fuller and stuffed and stuffed and stuffed and like more and more and more and more gets stuffed in there without ever being able to or being allowed to leave the body. And then I think when you hold in so much through a life of being told that expression is not okay, or like feeling is not okay, or pure emotion is not okay, and then then you're maybe if you're told as a kid, like if you're not taught emotional regulation because your parent possibly doesn't own that skill themselves, and then young children really need that help in regulation because they can't yet when they're small, so they depend on co-regulation, and when a child becomes older, let's say like 3 years, so in the baby it's crying and you carry it around and rock it physically to help regulate, to find in some sleep, to give food, basic things. But it can't regulate, it can't calm down itself, it can't, because the nervous system has to learn. It's not wired to be able to do that from the beginning. So you rock it, you help regulate, help to get to sleep, and help with everything. And when the kid becomes older, with like let's say 3 years, and then they can be very annoying and throw tantrums for no reason and are very, very loud. And if you as a grown-up, you can mirror the child, like this is how you feel, like you're very angry right now. And then the child learns to connect the way they feel, like this is how it feels, to a word a name to that emotion.
Hmm.
And later you can learn or teach like how to deal with anger and how not to deal with anger. For example, not me stepping with full force on your foot because I'm angry on you, but maybe telling that something like first regulate, I don't know, go into the forest and yell or hit the tree with a stick and then come back to you and say, there's a small problem. I have to talk about it, but I'm not like acting it out on you. So you learn these things.
Well, you use
And
you use words.
you use words
You're
later.
putting the words to the emotions so that the emotions can be dialed down, like how they're expressed physically.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah,
like you said, when you're a
yes.
3-year-old, you don't know you're angry. You just feel awful. So you're like, ah, you're screaming. But as soon as you
Exactly.
know anger is what I'm feeling, then you can tone down the emotional response. You can still feel it, but there's a word.
Yes,
So you
it
can
has a
say, I am
name.
angry.
It has a name, and
Yeah.
you have a grown-up there, be with you, hold you, just stay in contact, just stay there, and help also with the regulation. And yeah, you have the word and the name for it. Then you can process the emotion, and then you can learn how to deal with it and how to regulate later, like deep exhaling or whatever, lots of things. And now if you imagine like another parent that does not tell the tantrum 3-year-old, like you're feeling very angry right now, or this is what you feel or how you feel, but they tell them, don't be so dramatic. Then it's you are dramatic. So you don't have the proper word for what you feel. Instead, you feel that way and then get told that it's wrong that you feel that way, and so that you are wrong because you're not even told this is an emotion, this is a feeling, or this is what you're feeling, but you are bad. You should behave. You are too much. You are.
Is that
And then,
how?
then whenever this emotion later comes out,
Yeah.
it reminds you to, I am wrong. I'm wrong. I have to be quiet because I'm essentially wrong. I'm not okay as human being. I'm not worth. I'm not. Then it's not that. And then the actual anger or the emotion is still there and it's stuck. And then you stop yourself from expressing it, because if you express it as you did before, then it means for you that like I'm not okay, and then I get some,
Yeah. Is
and
that
so I try then to be a good person or something, and then I don't express it.
Well, I was going to ask you, is that how, because you mentioned with the bullying you learned to suppress, is that how you processed emotions growing up, was just to not feel them because of the bullying?
I did not learn any emotional processing or names for emotion as a child or teenager at all.
Yeah, neither did I, really.
And when you're so much bullied, like constantly, like on a psychological level, that's even worse than the physical attacks. Like being an outcast and being bullied. And at some point, I just learned to dissociate. Like you're depersonalizing, I think, depersonalization or something. So there's 4 or 6 strong people waiting in the hallway when you wanted to go to the toilet. You have can't run anymore, can't escape anymore. And they are stronger and more, and then one of the things, the nervous system has this fight flight fawn response. And if there's like nothing you can do would improve the situation, because you can't run, you can't fight because there are 6 of them, you can't run because they are on both ends, and screaming wouldn't help because there's no teacher around. So what do? You just dissociate, you leave your body.
Yeah.
So the body stays and you don't notice what happens, but you just go elsewhere. So I became good at dissociation.
But
just leaving.
Isn't that interesting though? And I know I'm thinking about this probably way too deeply, and this is not meant to be a psychological evaluation of any kind. But maybe that's what's fascinating to me about overtone singing is that you have the one thing that's happening and it's just like staying there, right? And then you have the extra layer where something else is happening, and the human body and the soul and all of the like the two-some dynamic that's happening is so real to life. Like there's this, and I'm giving you my perspective in the sense of like there's the temporal working alongside the eternal at the same time, and then with the overtone, like with the disassociating that you were talking about, which I just messed up, disassociating. You've got the body who's still physically present, but the mind has left because it's too much to
Yeah,
handle in the physical. And I think that's so interesting because the overtone singing almost is capturing the dynamic that invisibly happens in life a lot. You know what I mean? And I think that's just,
that's
it's really cool.
possible to see it that way, but
I know
what
it's,
it actually, yeah, I understand what you mean, but and that it can appear like that or like seem like that, but what happens when you do it? It's the opposite.
hmm,
So because for me also in performing or something, it has very much the vertical connection, so that it keeps the connection all the time. Because the two notes, I mean, it's not actually separate, so you have to be super precise in the control in one side, and in the other hand, you can let go of control and be fully present. So this is one thing I liked about the overtones as well, and about the circus stuff. So when you imagine, you learn to walk on a tight wire.
mhm.
Yeah, you step on it, and there's a certain technique, and it involves lots of practice, but you fall down a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I think
it
so.
has.
I've never done
You
it.
think so? Yeah, you fall down a lot, and how you learn to stay on, you have to. Learning to walk on a tight wire is an activity that teaches you absolute 100% presence all the time.
Hmm.
Because you start and doing, and you really need the presence and to be there fully.
Yeah.
Because with the first distracting thought, you're falling down.
Hmm.
And it's the same with the juggling. You know, this is an activity with the juggling and with the tight wire, with the unicycle as well. So it is so demanding and requires so much that you don't have capacity left for anything else. So it's cut out. For example, all the suffering, the feeling bad, the bullying, the whatever stuff is just gone for that time, because
Right, because you're in the present.
you have to, otherwise it's not working. And it's just confronting you all the time with every little distraction when you fall down again, or the balls fall to the ground again, because it always happens when you're having a brief moment of another thought coming in. So, and when you do that and stick to doing that and develop and practice, and for this time you're doing it, everything is okay because you're present. And you're feeling okay because you have no space or time to worry or to have something else at the same time.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things why I liked doing these things. And these are like the coordinative skills. It's something where you need the presence, and requires super precise control and training, and at the same time a certain letting go of control. Because if you try to think it consciously through, you're dropping out of things as well, because you can't wait for your brain to give you the correction of how to change your balance to not fall down. Like certain tasks are so complex that you can program and learn them on the body while being completely present, and you have no you can't, I mean, as soon as you're distracted, it doesn't work, and as soon as you try to control the elements with your brain, it doesn't work. So it's something in between of full presence, awareness, and go for it and feeling it. Yeah. And these things, these aspects are the very same in the overtone singing and in the learning the overtone singing. It's highly demanding. It's very exhausting for the people in my workshops, for my students, because it brings you so much. It teaches you so precise listening to yourself, to sound. It changes your whole perception of sound in general completely.
Yeah.
But it's so detailed, so small work, and so precise muscle control you learn, and change of the listening, and also requiring this total presence. So, for example, I studied the elemental music and dance education, like Karl Orff Institute. So we talked about it before, of the unity of expressing sound, voice, singing, body, movement, speaking from the small kids. And this is an entire teaching system on how to work with groups and creative process between music, dance, movement, voice, like this, to be flexible in these genres and in doing the things together also.
Yeah.
Coming from the development and observing how children develop in singing and in dancing and in speaking. So, but it works fantastic with grown-ups as well, and with all people basically. And and also with the overtone singing, it brings you down to so precise focus and attention, and so also there you don't have space for much other things. And at some point, it's like driving the car. In the first driving lesson, you have like, there's 3 pedals down there, and I have 2 hands, and I have 2 feet, and I should look here and there, and then there's some surroundings, and then there's the teacher, and then there's the gear, and oh my God, what was the right foot again?
Yeah, it's like that. Then becomes muscle memory. Yeah,
it becomes, through practice and through doing, it becomes muscle memory. And after you have some driving practice for some years, you just say, I have to go to the grocery store, and you just go automatic into the car. You don't think about anything, but you're just know where you want to go. Yeah, and with the skills, like the unicycling, like the tight wire, like the juggling, and like the overtone singing, it's the same. Yeah. It's absolutely the same. So you train your muscle memory and the proprioception, and the it means you don't control the elements in your brain consciously anymore. You do it in the beginning. You do it slow, and then you put it in your muscle memory, and then you don't have to ask your brain anymore, but the body does it.
Yeah.
And this is much needed also in singing in general, in how to build the instrument before you start making a sound. Because when you start correcting, when you're already singing, you're too late.
Yeah.
Like it's already not the result you wanted. So you have to program all on the muscle memory of the body and prepare, and then sing when the conductor says 1, 2, 3 now. But be there before, otherwise you're already gone. So, and with the singing and with the overtones, it's much the same. And then, I discovered so much fun and pleasure and joy in doing things simultaneously. And when then, even though the overtone singing is a complex task to do, but when this becomes automatic and integrated, then some of your brain capacity is available to do other things.
Yeah.
And then I picked up again on my plucked instruments, but I prefer the harp now, and also learned the nickel harp, and the latest instrument is the double bass. So then I, sing. Okay, singing is something I can access and I can do. So I can do it, and I know how to. And then, then I put another level of coordination thing, doing something at the same time.
Yeah.
And play all the piano parts on the harp, for example. And then you program it together into the body and into the muscle memory of what I do with the harp, with the hands, and with the singing and with the breath. and the flow of the sound. And maybe there's normal singing or there's overtune singing, it doesn't matter. And with the double bass, the fun thing, for example, is like that it's the most newest instrument. Like I do it like 2-3 years, something.
Yeah.
And it has different music styles in it. I can do all the jazzy stuff, but also other. And I love the Baroque and the Henry Purcell stuff. So and then I, for example, have the coloratura, the soprano things, and then you have the accompaniment with like harpsichord and viola da gambas and stuff. You have the musical part, plus the singer. And then you also have the basso continuo, like the bass lines of the bass player or of the low registers of the ensembles. So then I started making arrangements of singing the soprano coloratura stuff and then playing the bass lines on the bass and putting that again together and then continue to develop and to make patterns and repetitive things. And then I thought like, with all that dance training, like standing on the bass, I still have feet free. So I started to incorporate tap dance things as rhythm instrument.
Yeah.
Or choreography even around it. And this is like going through full body of feet on the ground, connection, rhythm, tempo, like being very grounded in that with the bass, with the huge thick sound of the bass and the actually physical possibility to be upright and move and like not sitting.
Yeah. Because
sitting restricts you a lot more in movement. And then putting the voice on top. And this is, it's so the things I'm doing, they just became more and more complex and adding more and more layers of coordination and things.
Yeah.
And I still love it very much because it brings you like instantly into a certain flow state, which I really enjoy that.
Yeah.
So and also when talking about flow states, I love learning things.
Yeah.
And in learning, I mean, when you're not learning and you do something like repetitive all the time in your work, in a job, in something, then your brain goes off and then you, I don't know, get bored out or burned out or it's not good for humans to
stop learning. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, or stop developing and stuff. And if the amount of challenge is just right, like it's not too difficult and it's not easy, but there's some challenge you manage to cope with, and then start practicing, and then you can, if the level of difficulty is correct for the individual person, you can relatively easy enter flow states in developing the skill, in doing it, in integrating and putting it in your muscle memory at the same time.
Yeah.
And this is just so, very pleasurable, lovely thing to do also. So that's like part of fascination and why I still love doing it, because I just love doing that stuff.
Oh, it's obvious like how much you love it and it's just your passion. But, Anna Maria, this has been such a beautiful interview and I've learned something. I can't tell you I grasp it all because obviously I don't take lessons and so like I don't experience it viscerally, but I just want to say like I really enjoyed this and I know my audience, especially my music lovers, will be interested in this. So thank you so much for taking the time.
You're welcome. Yeah, and I mean if you are interested or some of the people, you can take a look at overtone.academy. So I have an online course there which is about to be relaunched on a very lovely learn management system platform, and sometimes I do online classes and lessons, and so
yes, I will make
sign up for the newsletter, and then you get some info. And I'm also planning like a professional training, something more ongoing, like one thing digital online, like throughout 1 year, for example, or maybe starting with a 6-week program. If self-learning is not so much, it's not the thing for everybody to sit down and self-learn everything. And also, like I live in Passau in Germany. It's between Munich and Vienna, and I also want to do like a 1-year training for people that really want to come here. So that's also possible. And sometimes I have students coming from far abroad. So I have like last summer I had a student for 1 week coming from Israel and some other from London and some, but also very even more international and like New York City and South Korea and like
Wow.
some people are very, very interested and fascinated by it, and they really come far, and others are just from here or don't have that long
Yeah.
journeys. And plus I'm trying to do like this more ongoing training also in the digital universe
Yeah.
for people that are not so traveling that much. So yeah,
Well, thank you so much, and I will make sure to link
you're
the Academy, but
welcome.
also your website and your YouTube so that people can listen to.
Thank you.
They can see.
Wonderful. I can send you the links. Yeah, and I mean with the topics and grasping, I mean we covered like a wide
know.
range of different, very different
My
things.
brain is like,
But it felt very inspiring talking to you about that because, you know, usually I don't. So I'm in the teaching and in everything I'm very technical often and focused on the developing the core technique. But I'm so interested by all these other phenomena and effects on the body, on how you feel and about everything that I really enjoyed taking this big circle on related
thank
things
you.
around it.
Thank you for coming on the conversation with me.
Yeah,
all right, well,
anytime.
have a good
Thank you.
day, Anna Maria, and thank you.
Same to you.
Bye.
Bye.